Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're diving headfirst into a story that was, it was basically cinematic from the start, Akon City.
Absolutely. Hard to ignore.
The vision was just massive. Think about it. A $6 billion futuristic smart city
Mm-hmm.
sprawling across 2,000 acres right on the coast in Senegal.
What a beautiful location.
Supposedly powered by renewables, inspired by Wakanda no less, and running entirely on its own cryptocurrency, Akoin.
Right. The Akoin piece was
It
crucial.
was meant to be this huge symbol, a beacon for the African diaspora.
Technologically, financially, culturally, the whole package.
It definitely grabbed headlines globally for years. But here's the twist.
Yeah, the reality check.
In July 2025, the Senegalese authorities just canceled it, pulled the plug officially.
Project over.
Okay, let's unpack this. Our mission today is to figure out, really get to the bottom of why. Why did this incredibly ambitious, celebrity-backed project just fall apart so spectacularly?
Well, it's more than just a canceled project, isn't it? It's a real case study.
How so?
It highlights this massive gap we sometimes see between, the exciting vision and the actual practical steps needed to make it happen.
The execution.
Exactly. Execution. When you're talking $6 billion, futuristic tech, crypto, the burden of proof for how you'll actually do it is enormous.
Makes sense.
So we need to look past the initial hype, the headlines, and really dig into the structural problems. Why was this dream, this specific version of it, just fundamentally unsustainable?
Right. What were the foundational cracks?
Well, let's start with that vision, though, because the scale was truly something else.
It wasn't just housing, was it?
No. It was pitched as a whole ecosystem, a Pan-African hub.
With things like advanced hospitals.
State-of-the-art schools, sustainable energy, all wrapped in this, sleek, futuristic design.
The renderings looked incredible.
And the absolute centerpiece, as you mentioned, was Akoin.
The cryptocurrency.
Right. The entire city was designed to run on it. It wasn't just like an investment option.
Yeah, the engine.
Exactly. The engine for the whole local economy.
Yeah.
Services, buying things, salaries even, all supposed to be in Akoin.
Wow. That's a big lead.
Huge. The idea was financial inclusion, letting people bypass traditional banks, cut down on remittance fees, stuff like that, which can be a real issue.
Okay, so peer-to-peer, low-cost transfers for everyday life.
Paying your bills, buying food, taxes, everything. That was the promise. A truly massive conceptual jump.
A total bet on a pretty new and, let's face it, volatile technology at the time.
Definitely volatile. And what's so interesting, or maybe ironic,
Yeah.
is that Akon himself had this other really successful project in Africa just a few years before.
Ah, you mean Akon Lighting Africa?
Exactly. Launched back in 2014.
It's hard to square that success with the failure of Akon City, isn't it?
That contrast is, I think, the most critical point here. Akon Lighting Africa was targeted. It was practical.
Grassroots, almost.
Yeah, you could say that. It found a clear problem, lack of electricity in rural areas, and used a proven solution. Solar power.
And it worked. We know it brought power to loads of communities.
It's across 14 countries, yeah. Reached something like 100,000 households. Installed thousands of streetlights.
So tangible results.
Tangible results, grounded execution, meeting a real immediate need. That's the key difference.
Whereas Akon City.
Akon City took that kind of sustainable idea, but then bolted on this massive, speculative, $6 billion crypto utopia concept.
Right. Akon Lighting Africa solved an existing problem. Akon City tried to invent a whole new kind of society based on a hypothetical future need.
And that leap from practical infrastructure to this high-concept, highly financialized mega project, that's really where the trouble started brewing.
Okay, so that leap takes us straight into what most analysts point to as the biggest single problem, the money, the financing.
The $6 billion question, literally.
Right. That number was everywhere, $6 billion. But the sources seem to suggest there was never really solid proof the money was actually there, secured.
Exactly. That difference between a pledge or an announcement and actually having secured capital in the bank, it's night and day for a project like this.
You need the big players, right? Sovereign wealth funds, maybe banks.
International development partners, yeah. People who write massive checks, but only after intense due diligence.
And they look at risk, legal stuff.
And crucially, the stability of the whole economic model. If your entire city's financial base is a brand new speculative crypto coin.
Yeah. Institutional investors would be pretty nervous about that.
Inherently wary, and that solid, reliable financial backing just never seemed to appear publicly.
Hmm.
not from those kinds of sources.
Okay, so lack of big money buy-in. And here's where it gets really interesting.
The crypto itself.
Yeah, that lack of confidence from the outside was kind of mirrored by what happened to Akoin itself, wasn't it?
Mirrored is putting it mildly. It was a catastrophe for the project's core idea. You can't build roads, pay workers, run hospitals on a currency that's basically become worthless.
The numbers are stark. Launched in 2020 at about 15 cents. By August 2024, it had plummeted 98%, down to like 0.03 Cs. Essentially zero.
Which just confirmed all the warnings from financial critics, didn't it?
Absolutely.
I mean, imagine trying to run a city budget on an asset that volatile. How do you guarantee salaries for essential workers you're trying to attract?
Impossible.
The market just completely rejected it. The collapse of Akoin basically destroyed the whole financial rationale for the city long before any serious construction could even begin.
That idea of financial inclusion using a coin, kind of hard to argue when the coin itself wipes out people's money.
Exactly. It became economically toxic.
So the money wasn't really there, the crypto collapsed. But what about actual building? There was that big groundbreaking ceremony in 2020.
Yeah, lots of press, lots of excitement, but then not much else.
Reports and even satellite images over the next few years showed almost nothing happening on the ground, right?
Pretty much zero meaningful progress for a $6 billion project. Minimal is definitely the word.
What was built? Anything.
Well, analysts pointed to basically two things. A partially built welcome center
Okay.
and, almost symbolically, this single sort of strange arched concrete block sticking out of the ground near where they laid the foundation stone.
Just an arch.
Just an arch. It kind of became this visual metaphor for the whole thing, didn't it? The
Yeah.
$6 billion photo op, but nothing behind it.
Wow. Quite a contrast to those slick CGI renderings of futuristic tower.
A massive disconnect between the marketing and the reality on the ground.
And even if the money had magically appeared, there were other big problems too.
Oh, yeah. The whole governance side, the legal framework, that was apparently a huge mess, never really sorted out.
What kind of stuff?
Well, building a new city inside an existing country. You need clear rules, right?
Sure.
Things like tax policies weren't defined. How would businesses operate legally using only a coin when the national currency is the CFA franc? What about land use laws under Senegalese regulation?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, all that uncertainty makes it hard to attract people or businesses, doesn't it?
Impossible.
Yeah.
Serious long-term residents, international companies, they need legal predictability, they need administrative clarity,
Yeah.
and it just wasn't there.
So eventually the Senegalese government just lost patience.
Understandably, yeah. Their tourism and development agency, SEPCO Senegal, they stepped in.
And gave Akon an ultimatum.
That's right. Sources confirmed that was in August 2024. They basically said, show us real construction progress, pay what you owe,
Or else.
or give back 90% of the land. They'd seen 4 years pass with no tangible investment, no milestones met.
And the ultimatum was ignored.
Apparently so, because by July 2025, the government officially reclaimed the land. End of story for Akon City.
And what's happening to the land now?
Well, what's fascinating is the replacement plan. It's now slated for a much more conventional, privately funded $1.2 billion tourism project.
So scaling way back.
Dramatically. Hotels, apartments, a marina, proven traditional development models. It really shows a preference now for reliable investment over, experimental crypto cities.
It's worth remembering, Akon City isn't totally unique and struggling, is it? There have been other huge African mega projects.
Absolutely. It joins a list. Think of Kenya's Kanza Technopolis or Nigeria's Eco-Atlantic.
They often face similar issues.
Yeah, deep infrastructure challenges, problems securing consistent financing, major difficulties just getting things built. Execution is hard.
And this kind of failure fuels the critics, right? People who were skeptical from the start.
Definitely. Urban planners, economists, many questioned the real intent behind Akon City. Was it about broad development for Senegal or more about celebrity branding and attracting, luxury investment?
There were concerns about local communities too, weren't there? Displacement.
Yes. Concerns about displacing locals, a lack of real community input, and whether the focus was too much on tourism in the diaspora rather than affordable housing or jobs for ordinary Senegalese people.
So the argument is that it was maybe too top-down, too detached.
That's a key criticism found in the sources, yeah.
Yeah.
That it lacked grounding and realistic planning and genuine local engagement.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener, if we boil it down?
4 main pillars of collapse, really.
Okay. First, the money. Inadequate, never really secured. The $6 billion stayed mostly on paper.
Right. Second, the core concept itself, the crypto smart city model, based on Akoin, was just fundamentally flawed and unrealistic.
Third, the lack of actual progress on the ground. That concrete arch says it all.
And finally, fourth, the government stepping in because nothing was happening. Decisive intervention.
So it means this huge, globally hyped dream just crashed because the vision was totally disconnected from the practical reality of making it happen.
A fundamental gap between the promise and the plan. Hashtag tag outro.
The Akon City story, then, really stands as this cautionary tale, doesn't it,
Yeah.
for these big concept cities popping up everywhere.
It's become the definitive example, I think. Shows the risks of relying too heavily on hype, celebrity, and speculative tech over solid financial and regulatory groundwork.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that brings us to a final thought, something for you to maybe chew on. Remember Akon Lighting Africa, the successful project.
The practical one, yeah.
Given that success, small scale, targeted, solving a real problem, maybe the Akon City failure tells us something important.
Which is?
That perhaps practical, focused development addressing existing needs offers much more real, sustainable value to a region than these massive, top-down moonshots built on unproven, speculative ideas.
Interesting point.
So the question for you is, when you look at any huge new project, what carries more weight? The sheer ambition, the wow factor of the vision,
Or the boring stuff.
the transparency, the practicality, the solidity of the actual execution plan.
Something to definitely think about. Thank you for joining us for the deep dive.
Keep exploring.